Need a game for your youth program? I've got an idea. For this game idea, all you need is a whiteboard and a couple whiteboard markers and wherever you normally meet for your facility. I call this game Sketch and Fetch. And this game was a game invented by one of my youth leaders when I was a youth. And I've just carried it with me to every youth group I've ever been in. Use it to your heart's content. Here's how it works. Sketch and Fetch is simple. To win the game, your goal is to simply gather more of the correct items than the other team. Other versions of it, you may want to do things like you have to complete a list of items and collect the correct list of items first. Let me explain a few things about Sketch and Fetch. Sketch and Fetch is basically Pictionary, but Pictionary to youth group is a little bit drab, as it were. And so it's Pictionary with a twist. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your 2 teams ideally, or maybe 3 teams depending on how many youth you have. You're going to get each team a whiteboard and a marker. You're going to have one artist from each team come up to represent their team at the beginning. And you're going to give them something to go and draw. And it's something that you have pre-planned. You've looked around your church or around your facility, and you've found somewhere in your facility this particular item and written on this piece of paper. And they do their best to draw whatever it was that you told them to go and get. But the way in which they guess is not so much by yelling it out, because if they yell it out, the other team might figure out the answer. So instead of yelling it out, they have to run out of the meeting area. In our church we use the sanctuary, and they got to run out of there and go find the object. The first team to bring back the correct object, not call it out loud, but to bring back the correct object, gets that point. So that's really simple. First you sketch it, and then you fetch it. So it follows all the standard Pictionary rules. They can't use words on their drawing, they can't use certain symbols like numbers and stuff like that, and they aren't allowed to speak. They just have to draw it and let people guess. Now, the way that the guesses are made is by bringing back the correct object. So if you hear people shouting out and everything, I find it useful to just kind of remind the group in the midst of playing to not shout out the answers, but to go find the object. This game has worked great in a number of settings and situations. It's one the kids look forward to, and it's a super fun game. So go ahead and use it, and let me know in the comments if you've used it, how it went. I'd love to hear ideas for improving and changing on this game. I mean, you could get really creative with the stuff on the list. I mean, one of my favorites is to put a dinosaur on the list, and so they draw a dinosaur, and the students are like, what? Oh, right, a nursery. Go there and get a dinosaur. This is Staggy, by the way. He's like our youth group's mascot. I took him to a bunch of activities. He's been used in a number of games. He's got bandages on him from his war wounds. Yeah, he's been well used in our youth group. One of the ones that used to be put in the list in my youth group growing up was Old Man's Breath. And one of our youth leaders was in his 60s, and so we'd have to go and get him to breathe. We'd cup it in our hands and bring it back. Other things you could put on your list would be someone's shoe or a hat. I like to warn a leader before I make them a target, but you can definitely make a leader a target. And then they have to go in and they'll just run. You pick one of your more athletic, more physical leaders, and just let the boys take this guy down and try to drag him back as he kicks and screams and doesn't let them go. So there's a lot of fun you can do with this game. So just have fun with it. Make it interesting. Make it fit your group. Make your list sort of as long or as short as you want, and it'll determine the length of the game as well. So just have some fun with this one. Hope you enjoy it.